What's up, friends, and welcome back to my channel. I have never been a fan of tests, and I occasionally still have nightmares about the SATs. But this is not a video about Scantrons or number 2 pencils. This is about your health. And as you could probably tell from the title of this video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 health tests and explain why I think they provide so much value. So if you're looking to get a baseline for your health stats, but you're not really sure where to start, well, then this is the video for you. But first, if you're new here, welcome. My mission is to help you achieve success without sacrificing your health or happiness. I do product reviews weekly, so if you're into this, click that subscribe button and join the Type A tribe. So let's be honest here, the market is flooded with so many at-home test kits, and you could end up spending a fortune on some of them. But I am all about stretching the value of a dollar, and while some of these tests are definitely pricey, you don't have to do them all at once. When it comes to your health, this is about the long game. And so I have ranked these tests in order of importance based on my own personal experience. But of course, this is not medical advice. And if you are dealing with a medical condition, you should definitely consult your physician, especially because insurance might be able to help cover the cost of some of these tests. So let's kick things off with the fundamentals and my number 1 test, a full blood panel. I know, this is not groundbreaking, it's not glamorous, but guys, the data you get from this is invaluable. For the past 2 years, I've been using the company WellnessFX and their performance package. It is $500 and like 8 vials of blood, but you are going to get a very comprehensive picture of your health, including things like thyroid, hormones, stress, cholesterol, and even inflammation markers. Now, I do this test once a year, even if I'm feeling great, because I'd rather do it now than wait for symptoms to show up. After all, you are in control of your own health, and that is why I am such a big fan of testing and not guessing. And the great news is that you don't need a medical degree to interpret your results. WellnessFX in particular does a really good job helping you interpret your data by providing you with values and where you lie on certain levels, and then explaining what those markers mean. And then you can either bring your results to your primary physician or even book a consultation with one of the health experts at WellnessFX. My next recommendation would be to do a 2-week test with a CGM, a continuous blood glucose monitor. And new companies like NutriSense and Levels are making it super easy for the consumer to get one without a prescription. Of course, if you do have type 2 diabetes or are pre-diabetic, you should definitely talk to your doctor because you might be able to get something like the DEXA. And I talk about all of the different options on the market right now in my first CGM video, which I'll link in the description below if you want to go check that out. But the reason I think a CGM is so great is because of the data insights it gives you around food. Some of us just have higher insulin sensitivity. Might be genetics, but what the CGM gives you is the ability to see what certain foods do to your blood sugar spikes, and probably most importantly, how long it takes you to come down from those spikes. And by wearing one of these for 2 whole weeks, you can do a ton of experimenting, trust me. I've looked at high carb, high fat, exercise, fasting, cold showers, you name it. You are in control and you can see what factors impact your blood glucose levels at certain times. And then once you see these glucose spikes, well, you just can't unsee them. But hopefully that will help you in making better decisions about your health as a result. And one of the reasons why I love NutriSense so much is because they actually provide you with a nutritionist that'll walk you through the whole process so you don't feel like you have to do this alone. And I'll link to some resources below if you want to learn more about the company or just about CGMs in general. Number 3, the Viome microbiome test. Now, I had a lot of gut issues growing up and I still face them from time to time, which is why getting a full download of what's actually going on in my gut microbiome has been so helpful for me. I've done Viome 3 times now, and I'll be sharing my 3rd round of results in the coming weeks. But for those of you who don't know, Viome is a simple stool sample test plus a very extensive questionnaire. The results from this test give you insights into what foods might be causing you inflammation, the foods that are really good for you, and the type of supplements you should be taking to help promote good, healthy bacteria growth in your gut. Now, my recent round of results told me to stay away from almonds and things like bell peppers and to use specific strains of probiotics to help heal my gut lining. The company also makes it super easy to A, interpret your data, and B, track your progress over time. So if you are on a budget, I'd say look at their very basic gut microbiome test. I think that starts at around $179. And then from there, you can always move up to their full health intelligence test, and that is going to cost you around $400. And I'll include links below if you want to go and check them out. Next on my list of tests to do would be an epigenetics test. So most of you are probably very familiar with DNA tests, and maybe you've even had yours done through something like 23andMe or Ancestry DNA. A DNA test can be very useful in helping you identify certain predispositions you might have to certain traits or even diseases. But an epigenetics test is really where the future lies because it takes environment into account. See, your DNA never changes, but the expression of your genes can change over time. So for example, my genetic background puts me at a higher risk for type 2 diabetes, but factors like diet, exercise, and general lifestyle are huge factors in terms of whether the genes for that disease get turned on or off. And so what you get from an epigenetics test that you wouldn't get from a DNA test is the ability to track your DNA expressions over time, as well as things like your biological age. Now, I highly recommend you go with the company Toolbox Genomics because A, it is a super easy saliva test. B, their app is super aesthetic and comes with customized meal and training plans. And C, the company is very big on data protection. And I'll actually link to their privacy policy in the show notes below if you want to go check that out. Now, my epigenetics test from Toolbox is in the mail, and it does take around 3 to 4 weeks to get your results. But you know, I will be sharing those results with you guys when I finally get them back. Now, in terms of price, it is $200 for their subscription plan, but you can also choose how frequently you want to retest. And finally, we come to the DEXA scan. So this is a body composition test, meaning you'll get information on your bone mass, muscle mass, and body fat percentage. Now, the reason I like the DEXA scan is because of accuracy. So a lot of these fancy body composition home scales, they can be off by 15%, but a DEXA scan has a margin of error of less than 2. Now, if you aren't familiar with it, a DEXA scan is a very high precision type of X-ray. It usually takes about 10 minutes to get your results. Now, I did a video on a DEXA scan through Body Spec, and in that video, I talk a little bit about the safety and my own data, so I will link that in the description below. But here are the biggest takeaways I've gotten from a DEXA scan. And we'll start with bone density. So based on my own bone composition, I'm actually at a much higher risk of developing osteoporosis and bone fractures. So taking this into account, I have upped my strength training routine as a result. Number 2 is visceral fat. So this is the dangerous kind that wraps around your organs and can lead to some very severe health problems. Many of us don't even know that we're carrying around this kind of fat. So I think it's really important to at least get a baseline for where you're at so you can then take that data and make better decisions about your health and lifestyle. And number 3 is muscle mass. So the biggest thing I learned was that my right and left legs are not balanced. I have a little bit more muscle on my right leg than I do on my left. But having information like this is great because it can help inform you how to create a training plan that helps you achieve a sense of balance in your body. Now, in terms of cost, the DEXA scan is going to run you about $50, but again, this is kind of something I only do once a year as part of my annual checkup. And I'll link to some resources in the show notes below if you want to learn more about these scans. So those are my thoughts on the 5 biggest health tests to take. It's about $1,100 to take all 5 of them at once, but as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to do them all at once. You can scatter them throughout the year, or you can just really evaluate what is the most important data that you need to make informed health decisions right now. If you only have a couple hundred to spend, then I would definitely go with a full blood panel. Knowing where your inflammation and hormone markers are can really tell you a lot about the state of your health in this moment. And from there, you can start to make an action plan. And again, with the blood panel, you might even be able to talk to your doctor and see if there's an insurance plan to help cover some of these costs. So I would definitely start there. And just throwing it out there, I am here for you guys. If you ever want to chat about some of these different tests, or you're kind of curious on what to do, I know I am not a doctor, but I have 3 years of experience doing these kind of tests. And so I am happy to at least point you in the right direction and give you my honest thoughts. So hit me up on Instagram at KatieTypeA. You can also email me at katie@katietypea.com. And I'll link that for you guys below if you want to reach out. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, if you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notified each week when I drop a new video. And until then, I cannot wait to catch you on the next one.